Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Month of the Full Moon, here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a stoner horror comedy from 2009. That movie is Evil Bong 2, King Bong. Now, I don't know a lot about this one outside of the fact that it's a follow-up to the original Evil Bong. I do know that Evil Bong ended with a trailer for Evil Bong 2, but I didn't bother to watch it. And, well, frankly, I'm just hoping that this thing kind of sort of continues the trend which was set by the first Evil Bong, where at least that one was okay. It was watchable. It wasn't great, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse. I'm kind of hoping for this one to at least be halfway decent and kind of continue that, trend, at which point I believe that there is an Evil Bong 3, and I'll probably track it down if this thing's any good. But the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut the fuck up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Evil Bong 2, King Bong. You know, guys, this song is still incredibly catchy. Yes, guys, they used the very same opening song from the first Evil Bong for Evil Bong 2, and guess what? It's still fucking catchy as shit and awesome, man. I really am digging this fucking song, man. Okay. I never thought I'd see a movie where a man humps a skateboard to climax. That I really didn't need to see that, but again, never thought I'd live to see that in a fucking movie, so at least it's unique. So his grandfather, who in the first film was in a wheelchair, is suddenly able to walk because he's smoking this powerful ultra, weed that they're growing in South America. It doesn't make a lick of sense to me, but fuck, at least I'm happy that they finally told me why the fuck he's walking, so at least I can thank him for, not leaving a plot hole there. Oh my god, they were actually able to finally animate the fucking Bong's mouth correctly. You know what, guys? As bad as the writing and the dialogue in this thing has been so far, I'm happy that they at least improved on the puppeteering on the Bong. That's fan-fucking-tastic. Oh, for the love of God, shut up. Guys, I'm going to say this right now. King Bong is 3 times more annoying than the fucking original Bong could ever be. I never thought that'd even be possible. Ever since he showed up, he has refrained from shutting the fuck up. It's actually getting incredibly annoying. I can't wait until they fucking destroy the stupid thing. For the love of God, shut the fuck up. Okay, guys, that was Evil Bong 2, King Bong, and I'd like to say right now that, and this is gonna be a little bit of a spoiler. Even after he dies at the end of the fucking film, King Bong still refuses to shut the fuck up over the course of the closing credits. Not good. Anyway. Oh my god. Well, I guess I should start with this. A lot of people, whenever they try to talk about sequels, because one big trap that sequels will fall into is essentially just rehashing the previous film's events, but in a slightly different setting. Really good instances of that are like, well, Ghostbusters 2 is basically was just Ghostbusters 1 with just a couple of minor changes. A lot of people have referred to Ghostbusters 2 as a Mad Libs sequel where they just change out like a couple of little minor elements, and it's basically the same fucking movie. It's still good, mind you, but it's still essentially the same goddamn movie. Well, Evil Bong 2 does not have that happen. In fact, Evil Bong 2 instead has something drastically different. It is a genuinely unique story until the third act. The third act is almost a beat-for-beat remake of the third act from the original Evil, Bong. So that to me felt a little bit lazy after they spent so much time and they took so much effort to make this thing different. The very fact that it ends in essentially the same goddamned way is not good. So that, though, is partially the writing's fault, and I'm going to start with the writing. I want to, kick things off like I do with most of these by talking about the writing. And where the first Evil Bong was sort of tolerable, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't fantastic. It was just sort of meh. I guess that's like the best word I can come up with for it. This thing sucked. First of all, the story, even though it's far and away different from the first Evil Bong movie, it's not that good, because it has our nerd and his three stoner buddies going to South America to try to figure out why the three stoners are now all exhibiting exaggerated side effects from smoking weed, and each one gets their own. One of them has the munchies to the point of being fatter than I am. Another one is sleepy and lazy to the point of being a full-blown narcoleptic. And the other one gets a fucking twofer, because not only is he ridiculously paranoid, which apparently happens when you smoke weed, but he also is, like, horny 24/7. So, again, I didn't know that was a side effect of smoking weed either. Now, I kind of assumed that was what was going on, and about 3 minutes after I came to that conclusion, our nerd character, what the hell is his name again, Alistair, comes right out and says it, and I'm sorry, but when you have to blatantly announce it long after the viewer has picked up on it, that's not good. In fact, that is just downright shit. Now, a whole lot of the movie, though, is like that, where we have dialogue which is either stating things which the viewer has picked up on, minutes prior, or they are directly, like, fucking narrating what is going on, and that's not a good thing either. Because it really almost feels as if the dialogue was intended for someone who was trying to watch Evil Bong 2 while blind, and it doesn't work. It just comes off as incredibly annoying and irritating. Now, when I reviewed Evil Bong, the first one, I said when it came to the characters that all of them were basically just stereotypes, but they were still kind of lovable. They still had this little bit of charm that made it work. But in this thing, the charm is completely just wiped out, and everybody is just the stereotype, except for the jock stoner who spends half of the film, as I stated, fatter than I am. So he goes basically from being a stereotypical jock to being a stereotypical fat ass. That's it. And he picks up his jock tendencies when the magic weed they find in fucking South America causes him to suddenly drop about 300 pounds. No fucking joke. So now we have characters who were kind of sort of on shaky ground to begin with, are now absolutely unfucking likable, and that's not something you want in your movie. So now we have unlikable characters, we have horrible dialogue. While I'm on the subject of both of those, I want to talk about the bongs, because the bong from the first movie is brought back, and she's still your stereotypical sassy, black chick with no fucking charm at all. She didn't have a lot of charm in the first movie, so that one there's barely a noticeable change. And then there's the new bong, King Bong, which is basically the male equivalent of the sassy black chick. He basically sounds like a pimp from a 1970s cop show, only 10 times more vulgar and never shuts up. Oh my god. I swear to God, if I ever find the actor who voiced King, Bong, I'm probably gonna have to rip his fucking vocal cords out because I'm gonna be sick of listening to him 5 seconds after I meet him. That is how much I hated the character here. Partially because he would never shut up. The only time, guys, that you'd see King Bong on camera and he wasn't talking is when the other characters were trying to give a little bit of exposition or trying to help further the story along. Otherwise he is just babbling and rambling about bullshit nonstop, and it gets incredibly grating. Excuse me. So we have all that going. So in other words, writing here is just terrible. The acting, though, kind of works. I mean, because they were able to bring over a couple of actors from the first one, and they are still doing a halfway decent, job. And all of the new actors who came in and filled in for the actors who didn't show up are also doing a halfway decent job. And beyond the voice of King and beyond the voice of King Bong, which to me is still most irritating character in the entire fucking movie. Everybody else did a halfway decent job. In fact, hell, I would even go as far as to say that if the point was to make King Bong incredibly annoying and fucking obnoxious, mission fucking accomplished. All right, then the acting there is also pretty good. Pardon me. So yeah, guys, the acting here, though, is still, pretty good, even though the script is absolute trash, okay? I want to talk about something. It was a problem I had with the first Evil Bong, and they brought it the fuck back. I talked about how, for, the first, 2/3 of the movie, around the first, 2/3 of the first Evil Bong, they would between scenes, they would have essentially this, shot of just fucking, pot leaves and smoke, and it's all done digitally and all that. And I basically talked about how that just felt like horrible padding, just basically trying to make your film run a little bit longer. It is back in full force, and this time it's there for the entire goddamn movie. And it feels even worse. And it's made even more troublesome by the fact that the first 4 minutes of the goddamn movie is giving you a very quick summary of all of the events of the first Evil Bong movie. So they were doing everything in their power to attempt to stretch this thing out to an hour and 20 minutes. And they basically did it in the laziest way possible, instead of trying to, come up with more dialogue, come up with a little bit of charm for some of these fucking characters, something that could have made the movie run a little bit longer. Instead, we get padding at its absolute laziest, and that to me is never a good thing. Now, the camera work here is good, but then again, that's because it's essentially the exact same camera work from the first movie. It's that. Pardon me. It's a very decent sort of camera work. It's not. It really isn't great. It's not terrible, but it is at least serviceable. And the lighting here is, again, pretty good. It's very, very competently done. It really isn't anything which is going to set the world ablaze, but it is at least halfway decent. The soundtrack here, while not as fantastic as the first one, is still pretty good. All right, the soundtrack here is still okay. So now we get down to special effects, and I remember in the first Evil Bong, when I was covering that thing, one of my big complaints was the puppeteering on the Bong itself, because she has a face and she has a mouth, and the only thing which they could do with the mouth is either open it slowly or close it slowly, and they never even attempted to get it to match exactly what the Bong was saying. Here they tried, and it's basically as good as you could get. So basically now the mouth just kind of sort of like flicks a little bit, and they're trying to get it to match, and it almost matches, but god damn it, at least it's a step up, so I am able to give them credit. I am able to give them credit there. Then we get to King Bong, who is basically just a solid giant black stone skull, with basically, you know, like tubes and shit coming off it to make it look like a bong. And when I say a solid skull, I mean there's no way in hell that lower fucking jaw is going to move. It moves like 3 times. Each time it's done digitally, and it looks horrible. It looks like absolute shit. In fact, most times when you see the bong in close up, when you see King Bong in close up, they have basically this, you know, like digital, like, you know, like waviness and like haze all fucking around it, and it looks horrible. It looks looks absolutely god awful. And maybe if they would have taken that out, the movie might have looked, I mean, at least the shots with the bong would have looked a little bit better, even though the character is still so fucking irritating. I'd be surprised if anybody's able to finish it as after King Bong is introduced. So ultimately, am I able to recommend Evil Bong 2? No. I would happily recommend the first one. The first one is kind of a fun little, you know, romp, but King Bong is not a good movie. All right, Evil Bong 2 here is not a good movie, and frankly, I would happily say if you actually could just find the first one on DVD, by all means pick it up. However, though, if it's bundled with King Bong, I would have to say avoid it unless you find it ridiculously cheap. And I'm talking in the fucking like $3 bin at Walmart cheap. I mean that seriously is just how, you know, off this thing is when compared to the fucking original. So yeah, when it comes to Evil Bong 2, no way in hell could I ever recommend it. It just doesn't have anything going for it. In fact, it almost, to me, it almost feels as if it kind of cheapens the first Evil Bong a little bit, which kind of sucks, you know. I mean, I'm gonna be right up front here. This sequel is shit. It is absolute garbage. Now, Evil Bong 2, King Bong came off of the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in, well, I mean, he actually has, I believe, only sent in this. His YouTube channel is Invicta Studios. You guys can go over to his YouTube channel by going to youtube.com/user/Invicta Studios. I will put a link to his channel in this video's description. Pardon me, I don't know why in the hell I have this cough all of a sudden. And dude, thank you. I was really curious about both these movies, and you helped me watch them. And it is kind of sad that Evil Bong 2 kind of sucked, but hey, you know, at least, you know, the first one was decent, so there is that. So yes, guys, once more, swing on over there and check out his YouTube channel. As for me, I'm going to go watch something else. I really have to. That movie was just garbage. I might as well see, what can I watch this time? The Lost Boys. Yes, I'm going to go watch the fucking Lost Boys, because, well, I haven't watched my Blu-ray copy of it yet. So, rock on. Alright, guys, so with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.